Hey, I'm Derek, a 35-year-old man, and I want to share the day my entire world crumbled in an instant. 5 years ago, when my wife, Victoria, was 33, and we had just welcomed our second child, life took an unexpected turn I never saw coming. At that time, Victoria was already struggling with the loneliness of her first maternity leave, and having another baby only pushed her deeper into isolation. Meanwhile, I was working tirelessly, putting in long hours to grow my business, a company that was expanding rapidly. Things were going so well that I even hired my close friend, Alex, a highly skilled expert who played a key role in elevating the company to new heights. I trusted him completely. After all, we worked in perfect harmony, making everything function seamlessly. As time passed, I was able to move Victoria and our kids into a better, more spacious apartment. We bought a car, and Victoria even hired a nanny. Then, out of nowhere, she announced that she wanted to work, earn her own income, and be around people again. No problem, right? I gave her a position at my company, and she quickly bonded with her colleagues. I won't lie, I felt a small pang of jealousy, but I figured that after spending years cooped up at home, she would appreciate the social interaction and perhaps even feel a little guilty for neglecting me. I assumed she'd return to me with renewed affection. Fate, however, had other plans. Due to constant business trips, I was frequently away, but I never imagined things would fall apart in my absence. I left Alex in charge, fully convinced the office was running smoothly under his supervision. That was until one particular day. I had to leave town again, and since we had an overwhelming workload, Victoria and Alex decided to manage the office while I was gone. In my hurry to leave, I left the office door open, assuming they would lock up once they wrapped up for the day. I got into my car, reached the nearest intersection, and then it hit me. I had forgotten my briefcase, the one containing all my crucial documents. It was sitting on a chair by the entrance to my office. With a sigh, I turned my car around and drove back. As I stepped inside, I immediately heard muffled sounds coming from down the hallway. My heart pounded as I prayed that Alex wasn't involved with my wife, that maybe he had invited another woman over since he was young and single. I tried to stay calm, but the moment I heard Victoria's voice, my legs instinctively carried me toward the room. When I pushed open the door, my worst nightmare unfolded before my eyes. Right there at my own work desk, Victoria and Alex were locked in a passionate embrace. In that single, devastating moment, everything changed. I didn't even think twice. I struck Alex hard across the face and immediately launched into a furious brawl. Victoria screamed frantically, begging me to stop, but my fury was uncontrollable. I pummeled him so brutally that even his closest friends wouldn't have recognized him afterward. The chaos didn't end there. Our neighbors, drawn by the commotion, started gathering outside the office. Within minutes, a small crowd had formed, hurling jeers and offering unsolicited advice on who to hit next. Some people even chastised Victoria, while others desperately tried to break up the fight. It quickly spiraled into a full-blown brawl, resembling a scene straight out of a wild action movie. Voices roared, objects were knocked over, and the entire block was in an uproar. After what felt like an eternity, though it was probably only 5 or 10 minutes, the police finally arrived. I'm fairly certain our office had never witnessed such a spectacle before. The cops rounded everyone up and began questioning us. I quickly explained the entire disaster, and when they glanced at Alex, still half hiding under the desk, not even having the decency to put on a proper shirt, they couldn't help but burst into laughter. In the end, they fined me for disturbing the peace and sent us on our way. That night changed everything. The very next morning, I filed for divorce. By noon, Victoria came home, sobbing and apologizing. She admitted she had only been seeing Alex for a few months and insisted it was just a mistake. She claimed she was feeling lost, craving something new, and had let her confusion get the better of her. I calmly explained that a marriage built on betrayal and deception wasn't for me. She pleaded with me to keep our son out of the mess, and although it shattered me inside, I reluctantly agreed. I fired both Victoria and Alex from the company immediately. It was a tough decision, and explaining it to my colleagues was even tougher, especially since the rumor mill was already in full swing. Surprisingly, the divorce went through without too much legal hassle. I gave her a fair settlement for our kids and divided the assets we had built together. In a twisted way, I found a strange sense of liberation. I was finally free from being made a fool of from a marriage that had lost all trust. The fallout wasn't over, though. Alex's reputation was completely destroyed. Word travels fast in our industry, and before long, he couldn't find another job. Eventually, he had no choice but to pack up and move to another city. Meanwhile, I struggled to piece my life back together. I sank into a deep depression, and the overwhelming stress even took a toll on my work, leaving me physically and emotionally drained. For months, I just tried to regain a sense of normalcy. But amidst the wreckage, there was one silver lining. I got to spend much more time with my son. He was hurting too, and Victoria and I did our best to shield him from the relentless drama. For that, I'm grateful. Eventually, I started dating someone new, but marriage? That's off the table. Another divorce is simply not an option for me. Oh, and about the car. Instead of buying that luxurious fur coat Victoria had always wanted, I decided to splurge on a new ride for myself. But in a moment of reckless stupidity, fueled by nearly an entire bottle of top-shelf whiskey, I made a terrible mistake. I drove, and I ended up in a nasty accident. I broke my nose, and the repair bill was astronomical. I was lucky to escape with just a few bruises and a shattered ego. Since that night, I've sworn off drinking entirely, especially when I'm behind the wheel. Looking back, I still can't wrap my head around how one fateful day unraveled everything I had built. Betrayal, rage, regret, it all came crashing down in a single devastating moment. I never thought I'd be the kind of man to let things spiral so wildly out of control. But here I am, wiser now, and determined never to let such treachery destroy my life again.